Cody comes out for promo time, and they were doing a lot of interesting production stuff on this show, and not just like action wise, where they're utilizing the ramp a lot for kind of zoom ins. And this one, when the segment came back from commercial, they did this overhead shot of Cody. It just seems like they're getting more and more experimental with their production, and it's noticeable.
Definitely. Yeah. Especially with the long tracking shot after Sami Zayn, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. So Cody, they also had all these fan signs out there, all these yellow signs, these "We Want Cody" signs that were distributed. And he calls Roman Reigns the greatest champion in all of sports, and said that there are some complications along the way, such as The Rock, and that Dwayne referred to himself as our favorite heel. And Cody let us in on the secret of what this means. And he mentioned people who he thinks of as heels, like Bobby Heenan and Superstar Graham and Ric Flair and Michael Hayes. But he doesn't think that Rock is a heel. I think you're an asshole. And this was censored. And this will just throw everybody, all this language being utilized. And said, yes, I cried last week, but Rock, you've been crying backstage this whole time and going to the board of directors and saw this whole situation as great PR for you. But the board of directors are a bunch of yes people and enablers, which definitely, over this last period, you
case to be made there.
Yeah. Certainly has further definitions you could attribute. Mm-hmm. He says, Cody is not one of those. Rock, you're a terrible salesman, a carny succubus, and a whiny bitch. And you need this locker room a whole lot more than this locker room needs you. And look at this house. We're doing just fine without you. And you want to talk about my mother? Let's talk about your mother. And you thought Cody was just going to go to town on
I know your mom.
Yeah. And then this guy just eviscerated her, saying she's a wonderful lady who once helped me chop Kevin Owens at a house show. And my mom would never be afraid of you, Rock. And says, when it comes to the tag match on night one, I don't know if I'll win. And I don't know if I'll finish my story. But Rock, how can you be so sure that you will? You haven't been in the ring in years. And on April 6th, the bell's going to ring. And are you going to be the hero that shows up that I saw growing up? Is it going to be big Dwayne energy? Or are you going to come down with LDS, little dick syndrome? And then he credits Brian Gewirtz for coming up with the name The Final Boss, and says that, Roman, you're just his side chick.
Yes.
This is going to be one where
didn't he call The Rock Roman side chick? Or sorry, he didn't.
No. You're right. He said, yes, you are not the final boss. You're just Roman's side chick. That's what he called.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so this was definitely the most fourth wall breaking promo I feel like we've had from Cody since his AEW days.
Oh, this was very much a Cody AEW promo.
In this promo, he made direct accusations of The Rock forcing his way to the board of directors to insert himself into WrestleMania. So I guess that is now part of the storyline. It wasn't just The Rock deciding to meet with Cody to convince him that him being in the main event was the better idea. It was The Rock forcibly trying to force himself, using his executive power to put himself in the main event. There was a reference to Brian Gewirtz being a ghostwriter essentially for The Rock's promos. And I think that might split some people, but I think given how deep we are into this feud and how much The Rock has made those references about him being a TKO board member himself is now part of storyline.
This has kind of been the story about he is using his power. And I really didn't have the issue of the
heel wall definition. I had no issue either. I thought it was a perfectly effective way to get into the territory that The Rock has already been sort of wading it this deep into the feud. I think Cody needed something a little, again, edgier, for attached to his promo to avoid drowning from The Rock's very babyface promo on Friday. Dwayne is the type of heel that is in many ways a babyface, and he could completely overshadow and kill a babyface even as strong as Cody that easily. So I thought it was appropriate for Cody to get into this territory.
I don't think heel or babyface ever has to utter the word succubus in a promo.
So now the better question is, what do you think was a better nickname? Diarrhea Dwayne or LDS?
Oh God, they're all awful.
I felt like LDS was
I
maybe
cringed when I heard that, but listen, this crowd loved this promo, and I'm sure this segment's going to do awesome. And this, like, they're riding high. That I think there's a ton of latitude of where you can go here. But I recap this. I thought it was very cringy, but a lot of Rock stuff is very cringy. It doesn't matter what one person thinks about it; it's what the larger audience feels about it, and they love this promo, and they're loving all
yeah.
dude. We had a crowd chanting "Diarrhea
Well,
Dwayne." So
that's
it's like,
it. I felt like LDS was maybe a more an attempt at a more refined version of like Diarrhea Dwayne. But something tells me that like Diarrhea Dwayne is going to resonate more with these crowds, and it's going to be a bit more chantable for these crowds than LDS is
an
going to be.
LDS. Oh
Yeah.
God.
So we'll see. Yeah, I thought Cody gave us some great lines. I don't think you're a heel. I think you're just an asshole.
Isn't that what a heel is?
He said a bad guy. He defined it for us.
Okay.
You could be a bad guy in
I think
sports.
Will we get a Carney succubus chant?
That's a little less likely. Depends on what crowd. Maybe during the collective, you'll hear that. I enjoyed Cody's promo last week more, but I thought this was a necessary sort of change up in style. Like this was more like a rap battle, like diss track Cody we got tonight.
Is that going to be the final Raw? Are we going to get
rap
beats
battle
in Brooklyn? Yeah.
I think that would be great. So
Paul Heyman comes out, and he is here to offer an apology for bringing security a few weeks ago, or the authorities, AJ Kirsch,
including
and company.
You, yeah,
yes. And this was so weird. He was like, "I want to apologize for that. It was dumb." It was almost like, what a stupid angle we came up with. And said, "I have a message on behalf of Roman Reigns. Says, I am not trustworthy, but Roman is a man of his word, and says, for the face-to-face this Friday, there will be no other bloodline members present except for me, and I am of no physical threat to you." And Cody agrees. And Heyman says that if he shows up alone, you have to show up alone. And Cody's like, yeah, okay. And they shook hands on it, and didn't see this coming.
Shockwaves.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they needed you to stick around through the commercial break. He's a promoter. Maybe some would say a Carney succubus.
Was he a Carney succubus here?
Yeah.